what this weakening currency and just the broader business innovation that a lot of these specialty chemical companies have done will do to their business, because China's decision to shut some of the chemical manufacturing units to rein in air pollution and protect the environment, that story has been playing out now for 2-3 years, and that's probably going to benefit some of the exporters on a continuous basis as well. Vinati Organics earns 75% of its revenue from exports and stands to gain from both of these moves, one, the Chinese move, and two, the currency as well. But what's hurt the company is a recent shutdown of one of its biggest clients. So will the higher demand in China and through China and the currency help to make up for all of this? Let's find out from Vinati Saraf Mutreja. She's executive director of the company, joins us right now on the show. Vinati, good having you. Thanks so much for joining in. Straight off the bat, this currency depreciation and in such a steep way, does it benefit you as a company or is it net neutral?
No, you are absolutely right. Since we are 75% based on exports, meaning 75% of our revenues actually are dollar denominated. So it does benefit us, and I can calculate that for you, because see, about 50% of our raw materials, you can also say net provides a hedge, because 50% of our overall revenue, which is can be attributed to the raw material cost, because most of our raw materials are either imported or even if they're sourced domestically, it kind of based on import parity prices. So that means about 25% of our overall sales is exposed to the dollar. So now if rupee depreciates about 10 to 12%, that means we are talking of a net gain of 3% just on account of currency depreciation itself.
Interesting. So actually two parts to the next question. One is the benefit that come in through either the exchange rate benefit, etc. Two, whether this helps in business conversations with clients, because and if it does so, because it's not just the INR which has depreciated vis-a-vis the dollar, a clutch of other currencies have done this too. Do you as a company stand to benefit because of a relatively high depreciation of the rupee against some of the other competing companies worldwide? Is this happening as well?
See, you have to realize that two of our largest products, which contribute to more than 70% of our overall revenues, we are the world leaders in those products, meaning we have over 65% market share in both those products. Our competition for IBB, which is the smaller out of the two products, is primarily an Indian company. So the effect for rupee depreciation is the same for us and our competition. Now going to ATBS, which is our largest product by far, as of now, the only competition are smaller companies in Asia, which in China, Japan, which do stand to gain. Maybe their currency has depreciated as well. But then again, once you take into account the import tariffs that US has placed on China and things like that, so a company as a whole for our products is only going to gain from these recent changes in the economy, whether it's dollar or exchange dollar appreciating or US imposing tariffs on China.
Interesting. So Vinati, how does all of this place you? Because even when I look at your first quarter numbers, without these exchange benefits or the currency benefits coming into play, you had great top line growth, fabulous bottom line growth. There are incremental volumes in ATBS driven due to multiple factors too. Does this only sweeten the scenario for you?
See, you're right. The biggest driver for the top line and bottom line growth in Q4 of FY18 and Q1 of this year has been the exit of our largest competitor in ATBS from the market altogether. And now this is a permanent situation which is not going to change very soon, just because the technology to make ATBS is so scarce. So one can sort of expect a similar run rate, similar numbers to Q1 in Q2, Q3 and Q4 going forward this year.
Are you by any chance revising your stated guidance higher? I believe you had started off the year with what, a 35 to 40% growth number. Maybe both for the top line and bottom line. Your Q1, as I said, the bottom line number was even better and spectacular without these currency benefits. Would you be tempted to revise it slightly higher?
I think it's just based on my previous statement, I think it's fair to expect a 40 to 50% growth in bottom line this year compared to FY18.
Wow. Okay. I obviously won't talk too much about quarter two because you must be in your silent period. Just a quick update on how the capacity expansions are coming up too, because I know that your ATBS part expansion would probably come on stream April to June 2019. But as I read, the long-term projects, the PAP and the IBAP are probably in pilot phases, and at least until the last count, people didn't have clarity as to when do you internally believe those could commence operations. Can you throw some light here?
Sure. So the two biggest kickers in revenue that are going to come for us next year onwards, one, you're right, is the ATBS expansion, where we are expanding the capacity by more than 50%, and that's expected to be ready sometime in May, June of 2019. But what another large project set of products that we're going to start making by April 2019 is butyl phenols, which are products made out of isobutylene. Now that project itself has an overall revenue potential of close to 400 crores.
Okay, but when does, sorry, I missed it. Did you tell us when do you believe these could come on stream?
Yes, so both are, so butyl phenols will be ready by April 2019, and the ATBS expansion maybe around May or June 2019.
Interesting. One final question from my end, and if you can just kind of decode this for us for what's happened thus far and what could happen in the future. Whenever there is some action taken by China, people tend to extrapolate this for all companies present in India as a net benefit. But I believe some of the actions that China had taken were taken in the past. Maybe they are close to reworking some of those actions as well. Can you kind of just decode this for us? How much of an positive incremental net impact does any activity that China has taken in the recent past have for companies at large and not just you in particular? And for how long is it expected to last?
I think the actions that you're talking about, I'm assuming they pertain mostly to being stringent as far as environment goes and shutting down some of the over-polluting industries. And yes, that does have an impact eventually on India, and we will also move in that direction, and rightfully so, because polluting companies, industries, factories should face stricter norms from our government, and which is actually very good for companies like us, because sustainability, clean and green processes, zero discharge has sort of been our motto right from the beginning, right from the inception of our company. So this increases our credibility towards our customers. Customers are willing to source more and more of their products from companies like us, which have demonstrated over a period of time that sustainability is key to overall growth, not just of the company, but of industry and for the world in general.